Should be more, right? ATM. Viroda, I don't think yet.
Unlisted yet.
Yeah, so the thing is, this whole thing, at least the funding ecosystem has matured. We have seen, a lot of companies becoming unicorns. All that is fine, but not many public listed companies. And in the VC ecosystem, we see that if one of our invested company goes IPO, that's like a super success for all of us, right? So not many of them. Today, we are fortunate to have, both proud as well as privileged, fortunate to have, the founders of Quickheal, Mr. Kailash Katkar and Mr. Sanjay Katkar, and they are going to tell us about their journey. And I can tell you, it's an amazing journey, from the grassroots of where it started. And I don't want to take things out of, what they will talk about, but from there to make a software product and platform for one of the most technically advanced areas like, a cybersecurity platform, making things secure for all of us across the world, from being a very local product brand to being an international solutions provider. This story is amazing. So let's put our hands together, welcoming Mr. Kailash and Sanjay.
Good afternoon to all of you.
The mics.
Yeah, good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon. Okay, so really happy, and it's my pleasure to be here today and say thank you for having us here. And for you all may be knowing that Quickheal's journey, it has been published a lot, but then for today, my focus and our focus will be about like how it feels or how what are the learnings as a founder while we were going through this journey. And it's all about like compressing 30 years into like half an hour. That's what we'll be trying to cover, whatever are the main key points and how it went. So let us start. Let me start with the initial days where we how it began, how at all it began. So in early days, like when I was doing college, it all began when I was doing my graduation. And Kailash had dropped out of the school. He started his own computer maintenance business gradually. He started from calculator repairing to gradually moved on ahead to further, started from radio to then calculator and then to laser posting machines, which were the pre-computer machines in banks, which were used by banks before computers came in. And they were kind of semi-automatic machines, and that's where he had that technical niche of fixing them, anything that goes. And semi-mechanical is always, there are more mechanical challenges than the software challenges that are out there. And he has been very good at solving technical problems, maybe mechanical, maybe electronics. And that's where he had earned a name for himself. And I was also following his footsteps, looking towards entering electronics as a career. Electronics engineering I tried, but I was not able to secure admission. And then that was one funny incident that happened, that he forced me to go to computer science. And the reason was, as he was serving those laser posting machines in bank, one fine day he realized there was a strike happening in bank, and the reason was the bank was bringing in computers to replace those machines. And those computers were in a glass room full of like with a glass, and people were wondering what these machines are going to do and how it is going to impact their jobs. So that's why these bank staff were on strike, and then he realized also for him he started thinking now what next. Those machines, if he is good at repairing and if they are going to get replaced, what next? And so he started thinking about what are computers, how to go about learning repairing computers. And to do that, he was all dependent on books because he didn't have formal education. And then he realized that there is a need for formal education because it's a more complex thing. And he started seeing me struggling to get admission in engineering for electronics. And he said, just if you're not getting electronics admission, you just focus on computers. That is something that is going to change things. And computers were so new that it was not full. Seats were not full. People were not taking admission to computers. So I got admission into bachelor in computer science. There were only two colleges in Pune at that time doing BCS, and so I was able to secure admission. And curious with respect to like what I'm going to entering and what is it that I'm going to learn. Of course, there was some idea, even though when I was in 11th, 12th, that what are computers, how they work, but never realized how much it is going to change the whole thing, ecosystem. And while I was studying, and he also full-fledgedly went into computer maintenance. He learned things, and he got some good marquee customers as well for maintenance business. And while I was in college, I started seeing virus as a challenge in our labs itself. College, we started seeing our labs shut down because virus infection was there, and they used to call experts to solve the problem. And many a times, experts used to fly down from Mumbai, come down from Mumbai to fix these things. And when I used to visit him for my practical was getting missed, so I thought there were some computers at his workshop, and I realized he also was having PCs that are coming to his workshop. Half of them were for virus problem, and they were not realizing, customers not understanding that it's a virus problem. They thought it's a hardware problem, and they had sent those machines to him, and that's how uh, virus as a problem suddenly like captured everything in my mind. I started realizing this is a very big problem, and he was solving hardware problems, so he was not able to solve a software problem, which was a virus problem. Like floppy drive used to make too much noise, printer used to print alternate lines. All these was funny situations that were created by viruses, and to solve them, we need a solution that was virus software based. And of course, antiviruses were there, but antiviruses were very new in those early days, and they were like one, it was costly, and they were not up to date with respect to, see, you don't have internet, then updates are like something that you'll have to manually look for. अगर आपने like if you take WordStar as a software for processor, a newer version of WordStar used to reach India like almost a year after, and that was the situation. So people used to look for updates to floppies, and so I thought a lot of new viruses were also entering India, and we, being me from a computer background, I started developing a tool. First of all, it started like I manually studied the virus. I used Norton utilities or disk utilities to go deeper into the hard drive, check how the virus has changed, done the changes, and then reverse them. And it really worked for me. And I showed him that it is working. The floppy is clean, hard disk is clean. I manually cleaned them. And he was happy because his customers' problem were getting solved. And then I thought every time I cannot be there to solve them. So I started developing a tool that can solve that. And then I wrote some tools for each virus, a separate tool for a separate new virus. So there was like kill Michelangelo, kill PC Stone, kill all these tools I started developing, never imagining or giving a deeper thought like I'm entering into a cybersecurity as a domain. But that was a very like passion for me. I focused on that. Starting point. And then he also started using all these tools. They have a collection of tools in floppies and started using it as customers. And gradually we realized that's a USP for maintenance as a service, because no other computer maintenance organization in Pune was also solving virus problem that effectively, and which we were doing. And then we started, and while I finished my graduation, I started doing masters. And while doing masters, I I wrote a lot of tools for cleaning newer viruses that were appearing, and I started getting internship requests, and I started going to campus interviews. That's when he realized, okay, if Sanjay goes to work somewhere else, and where how can the new tools come? And so he said, instead of doing a job, why can't you focus on creating an antivirus as a complete software, and let's give it a try. And that's how, even though I did internship as a part of my education, but I then said no to the job and focused on developing the antivirus as a product actually.
And I just wanted to tell here that single-handedly he developed the first version of Quick Heal, which was like, at that given time for me, understanding how great it is, I didn't have that much knowledge or something. But today, when I just think about old days, I still remember the market having so many antivirus software like Norton, Dr. Solomon, and all these things. And I was aware of, not in thousands, but they these companies were having developers in hundreds at least, and they were like, the market leader, world leaders in identifying virus and, quarantine that virus part of it. And this single person, like, single-handedly, he could develop entire antivirus software in 1.5 years time, and that too with a unique features of cleaning the files, because all MNC products were just detecting the virus, and then there used to be a box saying that either you quarantine the file or delete the file. And today how the world is working. In India today also, people don't have their own backups. Sometimes ransomware attacks and then they say my data is gone, data is gone. Means even after 30 years, people are still not, having that mindset of keeping backup of their own data on a daily basis. So you can imagine at that given time, 30 years before, people used to never keep their backups. And at that given time, cleaning the file and, removing the virus out of that file and giving that clean file to the user was not just a great, it was great something for all users, and they were so happy to, get that virus free file back for them. And that was his really great achievement. And uh, when he was doing it alone, I knew that he was just a college, not even college pass out. Means he was still completing his, masters and doing his intern with some other company. So he's spending some time into college and then some time into that internship company. And then the rest of the time, late night, he used to work at home, just developing this antivirus software. And without any help, because those days there were no books how to develop this kind of antivirus code or something. There was no internet. The email was newly introduced, which was costing us like, sending a mail 10 rupees and receiving a mail something around 3 to 4 rupees. And in those days, without any help from the operating systems or even the system software books or something, he could able to discover lot many things on his own and could able to work on viruses like what these developers they speak in their language called reverse engineering and all those things. And he could able to build a DOS version. So in a DOS, you don't have a menu, but he came with a menu in that DOS. Means those days Tally was there, but Tally के पास भी इतना अच्छा मेनू नहीं था. उतना अच्छा इसने मेनू भी बनाया था proper. And that was really great.
Yeah, so in 1995, when we started formally, we launched Quick Heal formally, the first version. I was excited. I thought it's a good idea, and now I will have some. We'll start getting revenue and all that. But then very soon the reality hit us. We realized developing is one thing, but selling is very difficult, especially B2C consumer was like it's very difficult. Nobody trusted Wikil as a brand at that time, no, because we were very new. And secondly, the other challenge along with the trust and thing was having I mean to say, the biggest challenge that we faced was about piracy. Like having make customers to pay for software as a license was the concept itself was not there at that time. People were never used to buy licensed software, especially consumer side.
And we both were technical people. We were not actually salespeople. I was not really understanding how sales work and you know how to sell product into the market.
Yeah,
So we learn all these things.
so that's when the learning began. The means the real learning, which I'll say, trying things out in a market, what trying to distribute it on our own, then trying to give it free, and keep ourselves up to date with respect to the technological changes. The newer versions of operating system were getting released. Windows announced after 3.1, they announced Windows 95, and the virus problem was going complex. And in the same time, we started seeing email was were announced, and gradually internet become common, available to common people. And BSNL started giving internet connection, which was dial up, and the virus problem started growing like anything. And it's like there were a lot of learning for us. One is how to create a distribution network for consumers. That we did a lot of mistakes. We tried certain things for a couple of years, almost 2 years, but we were not able to uh, I mean, get any big distributor sign up, because nobody was willing to distribute a product in 90s, which is make in India. And because there was no mindset that a software product can come out of India. That's the fact that we realize. And then at the same time, funding was a very big challenge. We never had external funding at that time. But at the same time, the fact is that Pikil was never in loss from the first year itself. Pikil had been in profit. The reason was he in the early days where we were struggling to sell Quick Heal, he was having his own computer maintenance under the same company, and that computer maintenance business was doing great. As I said, we had one USP. He had, first of all, a lot of technical USPs as a technical expertise on repairing printer heads, floppy drives, even other computer maintenance guys used to send computers to him for solving those mechanical challenges. And then along with that, the uniqueness of software, problem solving, cleaning viruses, all that I handled, and that gave us a good name as a best computer maintenance organization. In Pune, we were grabbing bigger logos as a maintenance business, and that helped us to fund our development side. But the funds were not that big enough because software development became more costlier gradually, because the number of engineers passing out were not that big number, and most of them used to get placed. So IT services were booming, people were getting placed, and hiring talent was very difficult. And we that was one challenge that I kept focus on. And his side challenge was to bring in business, bring in distributors,
Building distribution.
yeah, and all that we tried, we failed. But every failure taught us something. Okay, this is why we are failing, and then why we should change, how we should change our approach. So distribution side, we early used to give a lot of credit and all. Yeah, you can add.
So those days, let me tell you, I didn't do my education after schooling part of it. He had done, but both of us were not at all management people. So we really didn't knew anything about management words like strategy, target, goals, Nothing of these words we never understand and we never try to search also. But whatever we have done, like when the national distributors rejected our product, being considering that it is a made in India and we are not going to sell because they sell only MNC products which are coming from America and all these things. So unknowingly, I started developing distribution network. Today we have India's biggest network when it comes to the IT, IT field, IT industry. Like you take it HP or LG or something, or anybody, even Symantec or McAfee. Quickhill has the biggest network, dealers network across India. This is really a big strength of Quickhill, but this was not strategically planned. It happened unknowingly. Since I got rejection from the big distributors, I started moving out in the market. When I succeed in Pune and when I tried in other cities, when it was not I was not getting that success, so I started opening offices in different cities, and that is how I started developing the dealers network and all these things. So today we have more than 33,000 retailers, computer retailers who are selling pickle products in the market. And we have a signed up agreement with all these people with a proper uh, strategically, relationship with these people. This is how this all happened gradually, learning step by step. And it is not only just professional relationship, but we have very emotional relationship with all these partners. So why I'm trying to say this, because when you really connect emotionally with these partners, they really help you. They help you when you are in a difficult time. Sometimes, there is a challenge with some technical problem in the product, or sometimes it happens something different, or some new virus comes and it takes very long time to really come out with the solution. So at that given time, we need to, manually do something which Sanjay used to teach them, and then these partners used to go to their customers and they used to fix these problems without any additional cost from customers and without even charging to this company. Still they used to help, and they used to always feel that Quickhill is our own company. So for Quickhill, they used to go out of box, and then they used to support customers. So this is all has happened when it comes to the building this dealers network without any strategical planning for developing this dealers network. Continue.
Yeah, so on one front, he took up on building the distribution network, which is one of the biggest strength of Quickhill right now. And on the technical front, I focused on initially I used to focus on people used to come to me, Symantec has these many features, or say McAfee has these many features we are lacking. We have to cover that, and I always try to cover them, but then I realized I cannot have that much strength, that many developers to cover those all those features, and then how can I compete? But at the same time, the very thing that happened, and I never did that deliberately, but it really happened, and that is the biggest learning for me. Is like I not only listen to distributors, I used to go and sit with the customers, because I had that relation with the partners and distributors that he says there is this problem, and I will say let me come to the customer. I used to sit with the customer, I used to listen to the customer, and then I realized customers are using best of the antivirus, not only Wiki, but somebody else's. They used to have multiple computers, and then they still used to face problems. And those problems are something that nobody is looking at. And I used to start listening to them, and then I realized, I can do this. This is not a feature in any other product, but this is something that customer is needing. And so step by step, I started working on those things which were actual real pain points, and they came only when I started sitting with the customers and regular basis, like almost weekly. I used to visit a new customer, and especially those customers who were in some kind of challenge or some problem. I can list few for you guys to give some idea. One is like, say for example, at those days, networking was novel network was the highest used networking OS, and DOS were at the endpoints. So novel server and then DOS was the ecosystem everywhere actually, and novel was coming out with newer version like 4.x, 5, very faster, and they were innovative. So people were stick to novel. Windows NT was not yet that big in India. Or so virus problem was like Novell also had their own DOS as a endpoint, but people used to use Microsoft as the endpoints and centrally server side Novell. But Novell used to support Windows with DOS, MS DOS executables as well. And virus problem was like complex. Once it enters the network, it used to be like infecting all the endpoints in few seconds. And to clean the whole network, if say it's 100 endpoints network, it used to take at least 4 to 5 days or more than that. Even though you have an antivirus and up-to-date protection, it used to take 7 to 8 days. And I realized nobody is focused on how to reduce that time. People were releasing detection, people were releasing protections, but when I sit with the customer, I realized this is a big pain point. And then I wrote a feature that focused on detecting novel as a OS as at the networking side, connecting to novel from inside my quickly, because if I use DOS, it will immediately reinfect the clean machine. So with quickly, we had this feature of detect novel, connect to the novel, load all the volumes as a different drive letters, clean all the volumes without logging to the real novel. Because see, login in the sense, if you use real novel login, their original novel login feature, the script runs auto scripts and the virus used to come back. And so I had my own way of logging, cleaning the whole thing and giving it. Once that was released, people used to clean the network in few hours instead of 7 8 days, and that really people started loving that. And every distributor, every maintenance guy used to carry quickly with them, no matter what customer is using, they used to use quickly and clean the network, come back. So that was the differentiator, and I realized that creating a differentiator is much easier to compete with the MNCs than rather doing feature parity gap and running after the what they are covering and what we should be covering. So, and this over the years, every year we release at least say 3 4 new features which nobody used to think as a feature, and that was actually solving a real problem that customers were facing, and we were able to create a name for ourselves. And within 4 5 years, the game changed completely. All the customers and the partners started asking MNC products that why don't you give these features, which Quickhill was there giving. And gradually in 2004, 5, 6, most of the antivirus MNC products started bringing in those features which I had brought a year back. And that became a game differently altogether, wherein I was earlier following them. But from 2005, 6, 7, MNC started following my product features and they started releasing them. And this is not only about technical superiority, it also is about how you uh, support the whole ecosystem, wherein like a partner is your partner is your extension who is selling your product. But if the partner is facing challenge, we used to solve his problem. Also, it's not a customer's problem, but there is some challenge. For example, he wants to remotely take the machine or he wants to do something. So solving partners problem, solving distribution challenges, it can be non-technical, like coming on with the schemes that is going to help partners and the market and the customer, win-win for everybody. This detailing for each distribution step as well as everything really helped for us to create a uniqueness. So uniqueness in terms of features, uniqueness in terms of distribution, uniqueness in terms of profitability, availability of the product, every aspect which he really ticked and aced the things that really brought us to the level where no competition was able to beat us for at least since 2004-5, and since then today, still today, we have the largest consumer market share for antiviruses in India. So that's how it happened. So I built this rest of the slides to just bring in the small learnings. I think I could jot down after going through my own journey and realize that these are the points I think I should be talking about. I think, yeah. can stand and talk actually. It's much better. So, so here I'm trying to make the point that see, I was there where you guys are today. Sometime at some point, Nikhil was there where you guys are today now, and you will be facing these challenges, and you need to, I mean to say, adapt yourself to certain things that you may face, and I'll bring in those shifts actually. So the very first thing that, like, as you know, like as a founder, we always love to do things our way, and we keep on getting involved everywhere. And the same thing was with me while in those early years when I myself was coding, and then gradually I started hiring people. I started hiring engineers. I started making sure I start developing multiple features. But at the same time, I was very like control freak. I started code reviewing. I started doing things, but gradually I realized that is creating a bottleneck. And that was a really big bottleneck because it once we start doing, the speed is very important, and the speed gets hampered if you are the bottleneck. And that really hit me hard, and I started hiring people where I started trusting them and then leaving the thing. Because see, if you start hand holding a lot, then what happens is innovations or participation goes off from the people who are working for you. They start feeling, because the steering is with us actually. So unless we leave that, unless we let go that change never comes back actually. So this is what the biggest learning in the initial years. Once I started doing that, I could see that there was a amazing innovation happening and faster newer releases of features. So
I think this is not just in tech. I'm sure this applies to all functions and more so in sales. So maybe Kailash, if you can talk about in sales, how did you go about, saying, okay, now I don't have to do all sales. I have to rely on my team doing that, right?
So when it comes to sales, that our focus was very clear. Like, it was not something that we never had a difference of opinion. We used to have difference of opinion, but in my workshop there was no cabin, so there was no war room actually. So we used to go on scooter to the agricultural ground where no one used to be there, and then we used to fight there, and then we used to come to one conclusion that yes, this is what I have to do, and this is what he has to do it, and then
yeah,
we used to come
so
back.
on sales front, see earlier like we used to focus on, see, ये margins क्या होनी चाहिए, discount कितना होना चाहिए, and how much credit line, all those things. But then as he hired people, because as he rightly said earlier, we are not from the management thing, and so when we hired people who were really bringing in new ideas, and we started giving them freedom. So initially we did that for Pune, and then we realized that their decisions are helping us a lot. When it came to with like respect to like bringing in the schemes, how to help partners to do better was something that we realized only after hiring the people who were really smarter than us in that sense. Actually.
Here, I just wanted to say that he was learning lot many things. He was letting go lot many things when it comes to the technical part of it. But for me also, since I never had a this management experience or something like this, I haven't worked with any company where I have seen something like this. So for me also, it was very difficult. Like, for me, I used to feel that I can manage everything. I can manage everything, and so I was having the computer repairing people of around 7 to 10 people, and then sales people for not only getting the AMC contract for the computer repairs, but also for the product sale and everything. And I used to handle all these things, and uh, I used to get failed managing the channel partners, whom I have appointed as a product distributor or a dealer or for selling that product. They used to face challenge. Then I have to send somebody to give the product demo, and then I used to not understand exactly where to draw the line. Means what is my responsibility and what is channel partner's responsibility, or while managing the salespeople, what is my responsibility as a promoter or as a manager or a means I used to get lot of confused, and there was a time when I was facing a lot of challenges. There was a financial challenges because development was need of more engineers. Whatever I'm generating from, the maintenance part of it, it used to fell short of money. So one day I was talking to some of my friends, and one of my friend from IBM, he heard me very well, and then he took around 15 days leave from his own company, working from IBM, and he said that I wanted to help you, and then he came to my office and he sat for 15 days just watching everyone, how people are working, how developers are working, how customer support people are working, how reception is working, how account people are working, how sales people are working. And then after 15 days, he came with a around 30-page document that where I should do the improvement and all those things. And when I read that thing, it was very difficult for me to understand because a lot of management words were there. So he explained me everything. So I started, me and Sanjay, we listened to that entire his conversation and the document, and then we decided to act on it. And I think I act only on first 3 pages, and the entire company का सारा turning point ही हो गया. Means it changed lot many things. So at that given time, I used to try and manage everything, but then he mentioned that I need to hire managers and not only the executives. So then I understood what is the difference between the manager and the executives, and what kind of goals need to be set, what kind of targets need to be given to the salespeople, and everything was there in that document, and that is how we started working towards it. And then it changed lot many things. How to have a proper SOW with the partners who are selling your product, and all these things was there in that. That has changed everything, and then we started growing, gradually. Once I hired the people, and then I realized what need to be let go and where to move forward, and that is where some of the partners I have to cut them off because they were just complaining and not making payment on time and all these things. So having a proper contract with the partners, everything we started working towards it, and the company started moving towards on a growth path.
So, yeah. And on the innovation front, what I realize is that as a founder, we always love to create new features, work on new tech, new technology, and bring in new fancy features. But then at certain point, it starts bringing or distracting you from the real focus, and that's where the biggest learning I got is that whatever we did with the earlier one, if there is certain technology that is already there, there's certain features that is already there, we have done that with some focus in mind, something in my mind. And unless that is executed properly, we should not be moving our targets towards like bringing new technology and all that. It's just like hype we try to follow many a times. The execution really matters because if once we say create for us like creating a new version, we launch with a certain thought in mind, and once we started focusing on execution, where it involves like distribution, support, and making it more stable, making it more reliable, the existing take that is what something really brought in the bigger change of more revenue, more trust on our product and ecosystem. So then gradually I started focusing like say 10 to 15% on innovation and rest all on execution, because especially when for us it was a B2C product, execution needs a lot of energy and lot of focus on what partners are facing, what customers are facing. They're not looking for newer version or newer features all the time. They are only expecting reliability, smoothness, functioning without disturbing their ecosystem is something that they are expecting. And if we focus on that, automatically revenue starts bringing and coming in. So focus on innovation is good, but only innovation is not going to bring revenues. You really have to give energy and focus towards bringing the revenue there. About IPO, the phase where we went to this phase was when we have already India's number one. We were already having a marquee investor into us who had also handholded it throughout for 5 years. We got Sequoia funding in 2010, and then we got listed in 2016. And every founder like always dreams about ringing that bell and going public. I'll say IPO is not, it doesn't define who you are. It actually exposes who you are. The reason I'm saying is this, because it's all about once you are listed, everything is under public lens. Your mistakes are under public lens. Your expenses are under public. Everything is public, and one mistake can get attached to your share price, and it can disturb the whole ecosystem. And your focus changes towards like managing the share price. It can happen that way. So you have to be ready before going for IPO. And how can that happen? Is like uh, earlier things that we used to ignore, like governance or bringing in putting creating all the reports, bringing things in a form that are reflecting in the transparency in the culture. All these things really started getting importance, and that's where Sequoia really helped us to bring in that. So before Sequoia coming in, we never had even finance department. We used to have few accountants and the rest.
We never had a board meeting also. Because what was
And
the board
all
actually?
those things we used to take to CA. Okay, this is the sale, this is the revenue, and he used to put it in the books and all that. Things were going good as an execution side, but things on the papers and reporting were weaker. Not that there was some I mean to say something that to hide. The thing was we were never focused there, and that's where we started focusing. As Sequoia really gave us a lot of insights about why there is a need for CFO, why there is a need for financial controller, and all that. And that brought in the culture of signing agreements with the partners. Before that, we never signed agreements with the partners. We used to have verbal relations. We used to say, okay, मैं 2 करोड़ का पिक करूंगा, इतने महीने में खत्म करूंगा, इतने महीने में मैं आपको पे करूंगा. ये सब मीन्स all verbal, nothing written, not even on email, and everything used to work smooth. That works for years, but then it's not all. Every partner will follow that. There are partners who may take advantage of that. So that's where Sequoia really brought in those uh, uh, discipline of like making sure you put everything in paper. Yeah, and that's where I'll say if you are planning for this, discipline will not come overnight. Discipline will come if you unless start following this at least few years before. You have to bring in that discipline of clean governance, clean framework, and then at the same time, transparent culture is something that is very important. See, when investors at the early stage are coming to you because looking at your passion, looking at your ideas, but investors at the next stage are not going to look at your passion. They are going to look at your discipline, and that's where they are going to invest into you. How you execute is something that will be under lens, and that is very crucial. And unless you have that, it's not going to bring in the right things. Right investors' interest.
Here I just wanted to give one advice to all of you that now recently BSE as well as NSE, they have started coming out with sub IPOs, like small IPOs,
SME
their SMB IPOs something, and that is really good. And people might fall for that, and you will definitely get a good valuations and all these things. But I would still say that you will have to learn everything on your own if you really take that path of SMB IPOs or something. But I would give you suggestion that initially you should take funding from VC or PE, because those people they are single people to handle, and there is lot many things lot many things to learn from those people, because those people really brings a lot of disciplines, understanding, and the structure in the organization, which helps you to go for a bigger jump. You know that, and after that you can directly go to, like, BSc, NSc, bigger IPO part of it, because these people, they not only bring discipline or the culture, but they also bring value, because उस कंपनी का भी कुछ ना कुछ तो मार्केट एक वैल्यू रहता है. लाइक फॉर अस, वी वर लकी, frankly telling you, till Sequoia came signed with Quickhill, Sequoia came on board. Till that time, I was not aware of how big Sequoia is. You know, when I attended first meeting with Sequoia after investment in Quickhill, their investor meeting, they have called us to US. And when I went to US and when I started talking to a lot of my friends and all those people, they used to ask me, Sequoia ने invest किया, Sequoia ने invest किया, मतलब क्या हो गया, Sequoia ने invest किया तो क्या हो गया, अरे Sequoia सबसे top company है. So I was not aware of all these things before, till they invest in my company. After that, I realized that Sequoia is the first company to invest in IPO. Means Apple का first investment came from Sequoia. Yahoo का first investment came from Sequoia. Google का first investment came from Sequoia. So that I learned everything when I went to US. वहाँ पे जाने के बाद पता चला, और अभी भी इंडिया में बहुत सारे लोगों को बताता हो तो Sequoia कौन Sequoia? Sequoia कोई ई फंड, अच्छा वो इन्वेस्टमेंट कंपनी है क्या? Means if you try to speak something this to the common people, they don't know what is Sequoia. So this was a big learning for me.
Yeah, this is something I wanted to bring in again, so I put this slide here. When we in early days, it's like we have to say yes to everything, yes to investors, yes to features, yes to customers, and but then saying yes at the early stage, that helps us, keeps our lights on, I'd say. But at the same time, it once we start growing and we reach certain stage, saying yes really comes with a cost, and we really learned that very hard way. And actually, so we the point I can make one here is that we realized that, and when we realized that, we started saying no. So one example is that we were once talking, Seagate was very interested in giving Quickhill to all the users through hard disk, and we were very interested. So I had a lot of meetings. They had multiple teams coming, we visiting there, and then eventually when we sit down and realize that the amount of time I put in there, amount of changes they were expecting in the product, and finally the margins that we were getting, they were very thin margins and nothing for us and more for them. And we started realizing, okay, that is changing my focus as a product, or the focus that I had, or a vision that I had about the product. And we collectively said no, and really later on we realized that that was the best decision we took, because I mean, that was only a one-sided kind of deal, and that for even though it was a big name, we would have said yes, we would have ended up serving more to them, and no revenues or hardly any revenues, and of course changing our focus from what we wanted to do with Quickly. So saying no is very important at the stage when you are in the growth stage, where you have to focus on something that is aligned with your vision, aligned with your product plan. Yes, has to be there. Otherwise, saying no is very crucial.
Even in business decisions also, like this sentence applies to lot many things. Means I would say when it comes to the business decisions, शायद हम हमारे business decisions में सबसे ज़्यादा हमने no बोला है yes से, because I tell you, there was a time in 2005, 2004, 2005 के time पे Times Group used to come to me. They used to say that you don't have to pay anything for the advertisement. We will take your small stake in your company, and then for 1 year the advertisement is free. And I don't know, means at that given time, unknowingly, I understood what they are trying to do it, and I said no, I can pay for the advertisement Yeah, but you can use that money for the product development and everything, and you can have a free advertisement. It was a good that I didn't like that idea, and I kept on saying no, 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 because if I would have diluted something over there, Sequoia picture would have never happened, because Times of India would, Times Group would have never allowed us to, take any investment from other funding, and शायद IPO भी नहीं
And
होता.
that was more towards, again, what we have to look who is getting benefited of the deal. If it is win-win for both, it is okay. Their proposition was we do more advertisement so that they, even though we dilute, but then we'll start doing more advertisement. But that was not needed for the product at that time. So that is also very important business decision.
I say, like these kind of, uh, you know, things will keep on coming into your life. Since you people are doing business, a lot of uh, good people, advisor people are there surrounding you. They will keep on giving you a lot of ideas, and if you really think on those ideas, you will really feel that they are good ideas. They are really very good ideas. But then you have to think from your business point of view, business angle point of
I have put this again, and this is in a different perspective, like hiring people you trust. When I'm trying to say this is, see, as we grow and at certain stage we started bringing in good managers, experienced lateral hires, but many a times we also realize that certain interviews itself that, okay, if we realize the person is control freak and uh, but we do that mistake of his looking at his experience and hiring because we think that we can manage and then everything will be good. But what happens is that unless we bring in followers, I mean, good leaders and not just followers. The thing is, I'm trying to say here is having a person who is much smarter than you, and not only one person. I'll say you should be in the room where everybody is smarter than you, and that's what your office should look like. So if you start bringing that culture, you will get innovation and I'll say ideas as well as not only ideas, execution culture automatically set to the level where what you want actually. So having right people and hiring and giving them the turf to perform is it's very crucial for startups at this stage.
This is going to be one of the key transformations which all of you will have to bring in. I mean, you're exactly at that stage, getting people smarter than you. I mean, as a founder, you will many times think that you will make do with some junior people and things like that. But when you have sufficient funding, and another angle is, say, for example, salaries, right? I mean, when you are a founder, very initial days, you will not take salaries. So it's very likely that a lot of your team members will be having salaries higher than you. But as you get well funded, you will take decent salaries and things like that. At that time, to be able to hire somebody who is probably going to get more salary than you also, I mean, has
It's a perfect mindset that you need to bring in.
view. Yeah, अभी भी in my organization,
Yeah.
हमसे ज़्यादा salary लेने वाले बहुत सारे लोग हैं
There's a
हमारा
lot many
organization
people,
में.
even under us, almost I'll say 12 to 12, 15 people who are much paid much more than we both of
We
us.
both of us.
Yeah.
And secondly, what I wanted to say here is, when you hire good people whom you can trust, you need to also give them a freedom. Sometimes क्या होता है कि we hire good people, we trust them, but we still continue micromanaging those people. Then it happens like, they are not able to perform the way they are supposed to perform.
And this we learned more particularly when we started the transition, or I say entering into enterprise market. And this is something we realized that, see, for enterprises it's not about like from our domain, if it's not about antivirus or firewall. What they are looking, okay, of course, initially we started saying, okay, we have these many features, we have endpoint security, we have firewall, we are having all these features that you need and at this cost, but sales were not picking up. But then what I realized is, again, the earlier days of my, where I used to sit with the customers, understand the challenges, and then talk about, think about what feature to bring. And that's the same thing that we started following again after 15 years. And then I realized customers or enterprise customers are not looking for product, they are looking for solutions or a trust, a solution that can be trusted, in the sense they wanted to see, okay, you have everything, but are you going to be there for after 5 years? Are you going to be in the business, and are you going to be innovating even after 5 years? Is what they are looking at. They are not looking at what currently features you are having or something like. So trust is something that can really change when it's B2B, and trust takes a long time to build. In the sense, if you talk to few customers and if you realize that they are giving you some insights, if you work on those insights and change your product, or I mean to say, add those as a features. Of course, if that are matching your roadmap. But then once you do that and come back to the customer, they realize, okay, this guy is listening to me. And if you do that over and over again, and if you come out with something that is really creating differentiator with solid pain points over the years, they realize, I mean, it's not a shorter time. So it takes at least, I'll say, 3-4 years. But that trust, once it starts building, no competitor can outthrow you from that customer, because know how much sophisticated feature list competitor comes there. The customer has that, okay, this will be there in my product, whatever I'm using in coming version. Automatic, that trust comes in. That trust is built over the years, and that can be built systematically, planned. You have to work on that rather than talking about features and comparison. So that's what I learned while we entered the enterprise market. And your all this throughout this journey, and maybe I had learned that little mistake earlier on. When we are focused on our product and everything, we really like go so deeper and so passionately that we really forget to work on ourselves as a health, I'd say. And nobody tells about this, and nobody, like I've talked to so many founders, everybody misses this, but this is very crucial, that you have to take out pause, pause your day-to-day activity to give some time for yourself. See what happens, we go on like running after things, we spend sleepless nights, we have a lot of loops running, in spite we are having our breakfast, or we are sitting at home watching something, or and our business looks are still there running on our head. It's going to burn you. It's going to bring in the fatigue and anxiety to the level where it will show up on your body. And according to me, your company is how energetic you are. So you, unless you yourself are energetic, you will not be representing your best of the self, and the output will change automatically. So I have learned that. I have started taking pause. I have started dedicating things. I have started detaching myself. No matter some mistakes may happen by your employees, you can just leave it to them. If you have hired the best of the guys, smartest the guys, then let them learn through also mistakes, and then automatically you will find some time to do something that you love, and then you will get re-energized. And that's very crucial for businesses, I'll say. It may not be there in any books, but I just thought of putting it here. And culture is what happens when you're not in the room. As you grow, you cannot be everywhere in any department. It's like you have to bring in the culture of the thought process that you have. Your every employee or every hire should become you as you grow, and that can only happen if you trust them, and at the same time keep training them in a positive way, like leading them, showing them by example, but at the same time letting them do the mistakes, letting them go and perform, and that gradually builds up the culture. And once the culture is, which, see, culture is the only difference. You see, you will have a competitor who is having same features, everything. What is the difference between yours and theirs is the culture, which is very difficult to copy. And that's why you have to work on the best of the culture in your organization. So for us, an example, there are MNCs out there and they are having much better features, but the culture that we have got in about customer first, partner first, and the kind of the way we solve challenges, that has changed the perception of the product, and that people bring in that trust, and that's very difficult for MNCs to copy. And that's that culture that we have, MNCs find it difficult to copy, and that's the differentiator. So I'll say culture is something that you should also not forget, and it's very important to work on as you grow it. And this is my last slide. So Here, I would like to say you're not building a startup, but you're building a story worth telling. Now, see, many founders focus on like, okay, I want certain valuation, I want to reach certain stage, I want to go IPO, and that's my success. And after so many years, after IPO and after 10 years of running this company, I've realized that IPO or investment is not your success. Your success is the thought process with what you have started, and what you have planned to build, and how it has built as a organization or as a company. No matter success on the listing front or valuation front, or even you may remain private as well, you may not get acquired or you may get acquired. The thing is, you have to, I mean, I feel that what I built and I can tell as a story is something that is success for me. And if you focus on that, like why you started first of all, what problem you are solving and how you are solving, so that are your users, are your customers enjoying that, and are you happy that at what cost you have sold them something and they are enjoying. So everybody is in win-win situation. Then that is the success, and that is something that you should focus, I'd say.
So, if in my words, I will say that success is not a race. You don't have to compare with, your type of company with the other company saying that कि अरे इसको तो ये valuation मिला, मुझे इतना नहीं मिला, उससे इतना मिला. See, success is a journey and success is a unique story. Every person will have a unique story. Every person will have a different things to say. Success is a happiness, is not a race. You should never try to compare with any other company. Because see, अभी हम लोग देखेंगे तो like we are in this industry and for last 30 years, अभी हमारे शेयर की प्राइस कभी 800 रुपए जाती है, 900 रुपए जाती है, कभी एकदम 300 रुपए पे आती है. So if we keep on thinking, and ये social media वाले बहुत सारे रहते हैं, like you look at the YouTubes and all these things, sometimes they will say कि अंबानी आज इतना वर्थ है, बट उसके खिस्से में उतना पैसा नहीं है, वो तो शेयर की प्राइस ऊपर गई है समथिंग, एंड सडनली एकदम ड्रॉप हो जाती है. सडनली अडानी एकदम दुनिया का सबसे टॉपेस्ट रिचेस्ट पर्सन बन जाता है, और 2 हफ्ते के बाद एकदम 25th लेवल पे आ जाता है या 30 लेवल पे आ जाता है. व्हाई वी शुड फॉल इनटू दैट? वी शुड जस्ट फोकस ऑन आवर वर्क, our expertise, what we can do for the society, what we can do for our family, how can we make our surrounding people, the first family, and then the extended family, and then the extended friend network and all those things. How can we make them happy? How can we become a role model for them? That is more than enough. You don't have to become a role model for billions of people. Even if you could become a role model for your surrounding people, that itself is a very big happiness, in your life. You will really enjoy your life till the end of your life, by just thinking कि मैंने क्या क्या किया है, और आज मेरे surrounding में how people are happy and how people respect me for what I have done in my life. You don't have to लुक फ्रॉम दैट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू कि मोदी जी ने आपको कॉल करना चाहिए और उन्होंने आपको बुलाना चाहिए और उन्होंने आपको अवार्ड देना चाहिए. अगर बुला भी लिया, दे भी दिया, तो भी ज्यादा कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला. वो आपके सराउंडिंग में है ना, सिर्फ 1 महीने के लिए याद रहेगा लोगों को, उससे ज्यादा नहीं याद रहेगा. दैट इज व्हाट आई वांटेड टू से. थैंक यू.
या थैंक यू.
One thing is very sure, when I had asked Kailash and Sanjay to come over, I was confident that whatever will come out, the messaging, the insights, everything, 100% it will be straight out of the heart. And that is what we saw today. So many thanks.
Thank you.